All right, welcome to News Now, where we tell you all the stories that have been making headlines so far. My name is Hibaq Saeed. To start us off, the President, William Ruto, has signed into law the Meteorology Act of 2023, establishing a legal framework to regulate meteorological services in Kenya and coordinate their delivery across the country. The new legislation is expected to strengthen weather monitoring and forecasting while ensuring Kenya complies with international standards governing meteorological services. Under the Chicago Convention on International Civil Aviation and the Intergovernmental Oceanography Commission of UNESCO. Now, the new law establishes the Kenya Meteorological Service Authority, which will serve as the principal technical advisor to both the national and county governments on meteorological matters.
I have the honor to present the Meteorology Bill 2023, a bill sponsored by the Senate Majority Leader, Senator Aaron Cheriot, Senator for Kericho County, navigated through the House by the Committee on Land, Natural Environment and Natural Resources. The bill, having been passed by both houses in the same form, is referred to Your Excellency for assent by the Speaker of the House in which the bill originated, being the Senate. The principal object of the bill is to establish a legislative framework for the regulation, coordination, and monitoring of meteorological services in the Republic. The bill will enable the Republic to comply with her international obligations in relation to meteorology, particularly the Chicago Convention, which requires states to designate an authority for purposes of regulation of meteorology. This enables the regulation of aeronautical services worldwide. The bill will establish an authority, the Meteorological Services Authority.
Now, the police have raided the home of former Principal Secretary Nduvi Muli, and recovered 34 bullets from a safe inside the house. The discovery has now triggered investigations by authorities into the ownership and legality of the ammunition. According to Nduva's wife, Elizabeth Muli, the bullets belong to her estranged husband, whom she says she asked to leave the family home in order to protect her peace and that of their children. Elizabeth Muli further revealed that the safe also contained a handwritten will that allegedly mentions another woman identified as Said, whom she claimed Nduva is married to despite the terms of their marriage agreement. She added that the safe also held several other documents and unexplained sums of money. However, she termed the police raid as an act of intimidation, saying she is ready to make the matter public and disclose all the documents in her possession as investigations continue.
Among the contents were the bullets. So anyone who knows him, he would he had a gun. So you either have the gun in your possession or you keep it in a safe. You must have a safe where you keep the gun and the bullets. So we do have a safe. And so the briefcase would normally have his gun or, and I guess bullets if he had. Anyway, it was among what was recorded. So just innocently put everything down. I did note in the inventory as we shared it is that the contents of some of the contents were extremely shocking. Some, our educational certificates or my knitting patterns are not anything, but there were documents in those briefcases that were very shocking to me. Very, very shocking in terms of what I can call unexplained money that clearly he had been interacting with.
Right. Members of the Rastafari community in Kenya have moved to the High Court seeking legal recognition of the use of cannabis, commonly known as bang, as part of their religious worship. Through a petition filed by the Rastafari Society of Kenya at the Milimani High Court, the group argues that criminalizing cannabis violates their constitutional right to freedom of religion and belief. The case is being closely watched as it could reshape how the law treats religious practices in the country. At the center of the dispute is the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act, which criminalizes the possession, cultivation, and use of cannabis in Kenya. Under the law, anyone found with bang risks severe penalties, including a minimum 10-year jail term and heavy fines. However, members of the Rastafari faith argue that cannabis, often referred to as the holy herb, is a sacred sacrament used to deepen spiritual reflection, prayer, and meditation during religious gatherings.
It cures some illness like psychosis, schizophrenia, which is the same cause. So it depends also the different strains, you know. So whatever I'm trying to defend is the tropic strains, not indica, because we have cannabis sativa and the indica. Indica they grow in Asia, which have very strong hallucinogenic effect. But the cannabis sativa is more of medicinal.
Now, Kenya has received humanitarian supplies worth about 23 million shillings from the government of Belarus to support households affected by the recent floods across the country. The aid was handed over by Belarus ambassador to Kenya, Dmitry Karosky, and received by Principal Secretary for Special Programs, Ismail Maalim, and the consignment includes non-food items such as clothes, shoes, and tents to assist families displaced by heavy rain. PS Maalim welcomed the support, noting that the assistance will help provide immediate relief to affected families and restore dignity to communities struggling to recover from the floods. Ambassador Karosky said that the donation ordered by the President of Belarus demonstrates solidarity between the two nations and strengthens cooperation in humanitarian assistance. Thousands of households have been affected by floods across the country, including more than 3,500 in Nairobi and 381 in Kisumu, with the disaster leaving a trail of destruction and displacement.
Experienced quite unerratic weather conditions in the country. We have been dealing with drought-related issues across the country. Over 30 counties have been affected, and currently, before we even finished dealing with the challenges that has come with the drought, we started experiencing flood that is now causing havoc across the country. This aid will not have come at a better time than now.
I believe that it's a small sign, another small sign of friendship between Belarusian and Kenyan people. Belarus, time to time, we face some kind of disasters, natural disasters, so we know what it is to face it. Of course, we know how important to deliver it on time.
And education stakeholders in Elgeyo-Marakwet County have unveiled new measures aimed at improving academic performance after more than 300 candidates scored grade E in last year's KCSE examinations. The poor results have sparked concerns among leaders, prompting calls for urgent collaboration between parents, teachers, and students to strengthen the education sector. Speaking during an education stakeholders meeting in the County Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen urged parents, teachers, and learners to work together to improve academic outcomes. Murkomen emphasized that better performance in national examinations requires collective responsibility and renewed commitment from all players in the education system.
This meeting is intended to interrogate the state of education in this county. Most of us who are sitting here are here because of education. despite all other professionals that we ended up being in, it is the education. We also sat down on the backdrop of our last year's performance, that we realized that even though our children do well in primary education and they get the advantage to go and study out of Elgeyo Marakwet County, the students who are unable to get to those schools out there are struggling because our secondary schools are not doing very well as they used to do in the past. And therefore, this conversation here must be candid, must be open, must be robust to make sure that we are able to interrogate the issues that are affecting this county.
Now, a new investment initiative has been launched to accelerate assistive technology innovation in Africa, targeting solutions that support persons with disabilities. Nearly 200 million people across the continent require at least one assistive product, yet only 1 in 10 can access the tools they need, limiting opportunities for education, employment, and social inclusion. To bridge this gap, stakeholders have launched the momentous Pilot Fund, Africa's first early-stage investment initiative focused on assistive technology innovation. Backed by the Assistive Technologies for Disability Trust and the Judith Nielsen Foundation, the 64 million shilling fund will support digital solutions designed to improve mobility, communication, inclusive education, independent living, and digital accessibility. The program will support up to 5 early-stage ventures through technical assistance, catalytic investment, and strategic partnerships, with the goal of scaling innovation while creating employment opportunities for persons with disabilities.
AT4D is a disability innovation hub and accelerator for assistive technology. What is assistive technology, you might ask? You might want to think of assistive technology as the tools and products that people with disability use every day to actually be able to participate in daily life. They enable mobility, they enable perception for people who have disabilities like visual or hearing disabilities.
Really excited to witness a start of a vision that was crafted very well in supporting persons with disability through innovation.
Thank you so much. Many investors in the continent and across the globe still associate disability innovation with charity and donations. And with the launch of Momentum Fund, it is an opportunity for us to change this narrative and to prove that this sector presents a big opportunity for commercial investment.
Right, let's get sporty. Sweden's Oliver Solberg has maintained his lead at the 2026 Safari Rally Kenya after the Friday morning loop, but multiple-time world champion Sebastian Ogier is closing in fast to keep the fight for victory wide open. Toyota Gazoo Racing continues to dominate the leaderboard as the rally enters a critical stage in Naivasha. Our reporter Alan Zuki is standing by in Naivasha with the latest updates. Alan?
Thank you very much, Hibaq Said. Right now, as we're talking, just like you've said, we are here in the final stage in Morendat at the Mzabibu stage, whereby in just less than 20 minutes, the first driver will make their way into the final stage right now. Already we are seeing thousands of fans flocking in for the final showdown of day 2 of the WRC Safari Rally. However, it's also important to remember that the Safari Rally is not only about the cars, because the sponsors, the government, have brought in the party and have ensured that everyone who comes down here has a good time, according to Sports Cabinet Secretary Salim Vuria. And right now, I am joined by one of the key stakeholders for this, who is Jafet Akuhulia, the current head of marketing at SportPesa, who, by the way, according to the government, is the one. SportPesa is the brand that saved the Safari Rally. Otherwise, we would not have Safari Rally. Tell us, is that true?
No, we came in to partner with the government and many other partners to bring this to life. And we are excited to be part of it because this is Kenyan culture, this is Kenyan heritage. And we have all the fans, like you said, that thousands of fans are here to watch this stage at Morendat and all the stages that are there. So we're just excited to be part of this, and as SportPesa, we are happy to support the local sports talent, and we are looking forward to an awesome event here in Naivasha.
Thank you so much, Jafet Akuhulia. I wish you nothing but the best. Also, the government has also chipped in, especially through the Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency, who are playing a critical part in ensuring that everything goes as well. I might just speak to one of the vendors, come a little bit here. Just very quickly, tell us, how vital is this to Safari Rally?
This is an amazing experience. One, my name is Sebastian, representative of Bosco Esquire with my colleague Vincent. So we are here representing Bosco Esquire, courtesy of Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency. It is an institution that encourages local manufacturers, local producers to come and showcase their products. You know, made in Kenya products, all the products are made here in Kenya, and that's why we're encouraging every vendor out there, every person who is manufacturing their own products out there, to join Keproba, come under Keproba and be able to showcase what they have. Because the ultimate goal is to buy Kenya and build Kenya. Thank you.
Well, there you have it. That is what the government and the private sector have been doing to ensure that the WRC Safari Rally goes down. Now, quickly, look at all the fans gathering up around there as they wait for the final showdown. But until then, allow me to take you back to studio to Hibaq Said for our subsequent 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. bulletins. I'll be giving you all the latest. For now, Hibaq Said, back to you in studio.
All right, thank you so much, Alan, for that action-packed recap on what's happening in Naivasha. Now, that's what we have for you this afternoon. Be sure that these stories and many more will be in our subsequent bulletins. Thank you so much for being a part of News Now. My name is Hibaq Said.